So sad.
So they have a blog post that goes along with this. It's in the show notes, but you kind of get the idea just by reading the first.
Okay, so whatever, the Westminster Declaration. Yet another thing happening in the world, designed for one reason, resulting in unforeseen, or rather even incredibly foreseen, ramifications when everything all of a sudden gets classified incorrectly under a generalized rubric. How often do you get to use the word rubric? I guess this will be no-name content. This is definitely no-name content. I'll probably put a picture or something. Anyway, no agenda talking about that, but I have insight about what.
Few paragraphs. Our information ecosystem is now so polluted with lies and hate that voices for positive change are seriously struggling to make themselves heard.
Okay, so essentially here's what's happening. Understand this, because this is what's happening. This is actually what is actually occurring with regard to the internet and communicating on it. Now that we finally have had it, then whatever you want to call the beginning. You can call the beginning one of two things. Did you show the email that was sent back in 1968?
This is the campus of the University of California in Los Angeles. Today, no one of the students is aware that this is ground zero of one of the biggest revolutions we as humans are experiencing. One of the science buildings here is considered the birthplace of the internet. This picture of some of the scientists involved was taken at this very moment.
Or you can call it the World Wide Web, which was technically 1995 based on Tim Berners-Lee. Based on Tim Berners-Lee paper about an information system, basically. I don't know what he called it, like the fucking information system. And the comments by whomever he submitted it to, his superior, his manager, whoever, was vague but interesting. Or vague but exciting. Vague was definitely in there. So depending on what kind of timeline you want to give the internet, I'll say the internet's definitely not. Electronic networking, technically, oh my gracious me. Technically, 1840 with the telegraph. Lots of truth going on here, so there's lots of tedium with this screen that I give you. I'll do an off-the-head shout-out. Marshall McLuhan, 33. Six-figure theater. Obviously. Edible. What do you call it? I mean, it's not. I know who it is, but edible something or other. Because I just posted a Brett Grenade song, Edible Secret Pictures. So, edible spaceships, I think, the term. The person's either got a muffler or a big piece of something. They're talking. Sorry. Anyway, I don't. Here's the fucking thing. I'm watching Elio, and I'll just show Elio.
You know, one of the big things I've been saying is all these games will become their own chains. Like if I have a massive economy and a massive game, the last thing I care about is getting the network clogged because someone else had, you know, an NFT drop or something like that. It's just totally unacceptable. So if I'm a big successful gaming title, I need for sure reliable infrastructure. infrastructure. And that means I'm going to want my own chain. So that's why I really like this stackable ZK EVM. So every one of these bits just totally unacceptable. So if I'm a big successful gaming title, I need for sure reliable infrastructure. And that means I'm going to want my own chain.
I'll show what, I'm not going to describe it. I will simply say it. Like I was watching Elio talk about, he hadn't done a video like this in a long time. I only watched 2 people for YouTube, crypto YouTube. Only 2 people. Don't watch them habitually, but I do watch them when I watch them somewhat regularly, but not nearly. Not as much as, not a geek. Nerd, not a geek. Geek about McLuhan, nerd about crypto. Anyway. Chain. That is all that's happening. That is the promise of crypto and the blockchain, is that they're all just going to be service networks. And so naturally, the successful ones, as they mature, will emulate the old technology using the classic content of the new tech and the old tech. So the new fucking chains of the internet will contain the old, old content. And we're not smart enough to know. They have not been around long enough in the form they have. Podcasts are just radio shows. But I mean, as podcasts, as videocasts, as broadcasts on streaming, etc., it's still just nascent, the effect of everyone being able to do it and distribute it on a network, even if it's, like mine, obscure. A-U-B, obscure, S-K-U-R. All that shit twice. Overall internet that we have known since 95, yes, sure, that will be completely just sanitized like Times Square, which is, good in some ways, good for tourists, good for dumb people. No offense, dumb. But the rest will be private, and just as easy as it has been to create sort of like Facebook feed, it's just as easy as it's been to create feeds within the realm of social media. It will be easy now to create complete networks that have complete ecosystems, websites, services. That's what you get when you can transport financial services into, that's what happens with the private asynchronous transfer modes. Once that becomes pumped, but still privately run and possible for anyone to do. And so these chains of services, like whatever crypto project, 1,000 crypto projects that survive, and the 1% of those that actually become infrastructure that the public has access to, will sort of regionalize and, dare I say, nationalize away from globalized elements of the internet, where you can still go to a Polygon chain, whatever, an Ethereum network, a Bitcoin network, Ripple network, Cardano network, whichever networks end up having robust ecosystems, you can still use these things, but the cost will be what the cost is. And there will be a cost for every single fucking thing a person does. Whereas right now, the internet's just been like a big research and development project that has reached sort of the end of its usefulness as a big research and development project. It's now entering the realm of Turner Class Movies, a free channel, or channel that has no commercials, has one function, which is sort of like what AM radio is. Just it's good for a bit of an ad funnel, not much, but it's excess, and it's harder to get rid of it than it is to just curate it and turn it.
We built the internet out, and if you want the
Government, if the government builds a big red button, they're going to find reasons to push it. This is just a fact.
The government started the internet. Actually, an arm of the government, the research arm of the government, ARPA, started the.
You cannot believe me, but I'm telling you the truth that I hadn't listened to this episode yet. It's a fresh impression in creating no-name content when I feel compelled to, because that's what anybody can do, and it'll get like 25 views. But that's just the world we live in. If this was 2006, before Google bought YouTube, because I was on it then, WOMP 2007 in 2006. So I was always looking to the future. It's called WOMP. Now that's the name of a free blockchain-based bullshit clubhouse. Not bullshit, but it's actually probably really cool, but the ability to get to use it, I don't have the patience for the form, to fill out the form, because I can't read. I don't have the skill set to have the patience to read the form to get access to the service, so I'm just hoping the service gets so good that I be a normal, ordinary person using it. And it's called WOMP. That sidetrack. It is just a constant sidetrack of my own subjective, coincidental perception. I think that is true for everything. Anyway, fresh perception. Whatever. So I'm about 10 minutes ahead in thinking at times, maybe 10 seconds, real time, ahead of thinking of what I'm looking at.
Internet, and they got it so far, it was like a kind of an interesting, is when the commercial interests looking to make money got involved, and it's nothing, doesn't even look the same. And it's faster than the government would have ever gotten us.
Well, I mean, so the point is that the Border Gateway Protocol is not secure. There's a newer version which does have some authentication. I'm just giving you the very top level. But here was a dude named Ben advocating for, well, I think there should be regulations about that. Well, no, you don't want the government involved in having any power. I mean, they're trying this again. Now it's coming from France.
And with French news, the Interior Minister, Gérald Darmanin, is asking for the implementation of a so-called backdoor to access the messages on phones of people.
Right. So they're going to bring in more stories confirming, I guess, what I've already forgotten that I said in this video, because I'm driving. And it's not for everybody, driving. Driving is not for everybody. But flying cars, you're going to at least have to know how to parallel park and potentially create McLuhan video style no-name content. At a later date, I'm not streaming this live. I'm not editing it in my car this time. But that's all that's happening. I reference Elio because that's the only comprehensible precedent that I can find that illustrates something that I'm sure many people have thought of. And to go further on it, and I could find further information confirming it, I'm not going to. You will have to trust me. I mean, if you want the truth index of a blockchain, we don't have access to that yet, where we can have, let's say, verbal commands, talk about subjects within the triangulated parameter of a period of time, say, if I were to say, Netflix strikes deal with internet service providers to ensure uninterrupted streaming video, circa stories from 2014, 2017. And they have to have strike deal, ISP, Netflix, uninterrupted streaming. Those have to be terms inside the query. That can be handled by a video before 2049, super fucking duper. Or you can just fucking trust me that I'm not creative enough to fucking make up something that boring out of the whole head that I have of creative fucking thinking.
Who is suspected of posing a threat to France's national...
Okay, I can't handle the Red River graduates. That's what we call the community college here in Winnipeg. I can't handle the talking heads. I can't handle the talking heads band, and I can't handle talking heads in media, story information, because it's just too fucking much. And I don't blame them. They're just reading. They're showing off. And they need a job, which I understand that. Everyone needs a job. I'm not going to get onto a distraction about that. But, yeah. I'll
Something else, encryption.
You fucking bitch. Mad!
We're going to have to find other ways.
It calls legwork, maybe? Actual old-fashioned police.
Julia Seeger from our Science and Technology desk is with me. And Julia, we have heard this demand before, haven't we, to create a so-called backdoor for encrypted messages from politicians in Europe, but also from politicians in the US.
So that's cropping up again. And I got a note from a violent crime inspector, one of our producers. He says, Telegram is really horrible because it's based in the UK. They don't care. They won't unencrypt stuff for us, so we can track drug pushers and all this stuff. Yeah. And I said, I feel bad about it, but no. I mean, it does. So Telegram gives you a backdoor. They're just going to go to something else. Encryption is encryption. We're going to have to find other ways.
Called legwork, maybe actual old-fashioned police work.
I don't want to diminish it, but yes, you would think that that's a way to go.
I remember back in the early '80s when they tried to push make encryption illegal, and actually, what's his name, the PGP guy?
Yeah. They put it on T-shirts. Remember?
I think he got arrested. In fact, they were pushing so hard on this. And they kept doing everything they could. They had some sort of a box they were going to put on the television so they could monitor everything. And I don't blame law enforcement for this. If they can make their job easier, that's what they're going to push for. It's not like they're evil. They just want to make their lives easier. They just as soon eat donuts at the coffee shop.
Oh, God.
I'm telling you.
John at Dvorak.org.
They would just as soon eat donuts as do any real work because it's better. It's fun. Donuts are tasty. And so you'd rather have donuts than actually go out and pound the pavement and do real footwork. It's a pain in the ass. Real police work is hard.
I love there was some guy I know in the social, and he's like, value for value was it's corruptible because you guys will just do stuff that your biggest donors want to hear. I said, I think we've proven the opposite every single time. We say very unpopular things with our bait.
That's very true. And that's another McLuhan-esque insight about the difference between play and work is that, the novelty of the technological tools we have to communicate, the play that is a characteristic of them doesn't really ever go away. You might not want to make stuff, and you might not think of new ways to make stuff. That's always going to be true, and that's always going to be, but you're always going to be communicating one way or another. Either, all the best, the easiest one, talking to a person, but that's not always if there's no person to talk to. Talking out loud, writing something down, whatever it is, you're going to communicate. Your thinking is maybe the easiest one because it is called Rene Descartes. You might know him as Rick Deckard from Blade Runner. But Rene Descartes, born on March 31st, I don't know the year. Rene Descartes, he said, I doubt dubito something cogito ergo sum. So maybe it's dubito ergo cogito ergo sum. I don't know what ergo is. I'm guessing sum some. If sum or some is I am, then yeah, that's like I am what I've done, which is a lyrical refrain in a Faith No More song. If you're a fan, you know the song. I'm not going to say it because it's a funny name, but it is one of the heaviest metal songs ever by a band that you could say has never really been a metal band, but they're more metal than metal. So there you go. That's why people like Faith No More, who like Faith No More, and this Congo, etc. It's a type of geek. I am that kind. Anyway, so when they say the value is corruptible, there's always someone who's going to say the obvious thing thinking it's super clever. Usually it's me, but it is actually clever. Mutual difference. And or completely impenetrable and childish. One or the other. Either genius or what the hell is this fucking moron thing? I don't have patience. I agree. We don't all have patience for the artistic morons that populate this planet. But sometimes sometimes there is an artistic moron who's just enough of both to be compelling. I believe I am that guy, which I don't think a lot of people want to be. I didn't want to be it, but that's what I am. I can recognize that I'm not the greatest communicator, but I am insightful and at least entertaining enough to be unique among the landscape of creators out there in the world called this planet. Back to the show. This is why I like it.
Please. No. So now I want to pivot into this Supreme Court case. You asked for some follow-up information. We have our pro bono lawyer who is following this for us. This is about the Missouri versus Biden, how they were coercing social media.
Okay, well, I will never overtly go into any type of political dialogue online because that's not the place for political dialogue. Online is just a place to make people think. Sometimes these things do have political overtones, and people that have them are, can be. I'm going to do something very civic. Both the stop signs here are covered in. I am going to pull away from the road and the car that was behind us, and I'm going to wipe them off because I'm not the person who's right. What a momentum.